Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from France, French language English subs, released in the year 2014, directed by Alexandre Bastillo and Julien Marie, and this movie is called Among the Living. So Among the Living starts off with a group of friends, they're teenagers, and they decide to skip school. So this is the last day before summer vacations. They're a little bit, rebellious, and they're always getting in trouble by their teachers. So they think to themselves, why not just skip the day and we'll go out and have some fun. So they're doing all these kind of mischievous things. They burn down a barn. So you sense that although they're rebellious, they're quite nasty. So they end up coming to this abandoned movie studio called Blackwoods. And they go about and they're looking through, and then all of a sudden they come across this truck that is towing this car behind it, and it actually goes into the studio, and that's what makes the kids follow it. And they go into the studio, and then all of a sudden they notice that the car that was being towed has a woman in the back, in the boot, in the trunk. So they're terrified. They're thinking, what the hell's going on here? We've got to tell somebody. But then all of a sudden this masked man comes out, and they hide, and they watch this masked man take the body and drag her inside. So she's screaming, but the kids don't know what to do. So they end up following the guy with the mask, and then all of a sudden they run into trouble when they're found out. The guy with the mask sees them, and they run home. So when they run home, they think that they've escaped trouble, but that is certainly not the case when they realise that whatever was there, whatever saw them, has now stalked them back to their home, and now they're all in grave danger. So what happens at that point on, something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Among the Living. I was really psyched to see this movie for the simple fact that Alexandre Bastillo and Julien Marie were the directors of this film. Now, if you're familiar with French horror films, you will know that they were responsible for the masterpiece of extreme horror, Inside. I thought that was just a movie that broke all the barriers. It really set the standard, and it reignited my passion for horror. So these guys are very important in my horror life. And when you come to films that really influenced you as a child, it was The Exorcist. That really scared me, and it really set the tone for horror. And then when I started to become a little bit disheartened with horror, thinking that they've run out of ideas, they're not really that extreme, I saw Inside, and that reignited that passion, and that's what got me going again. So The Exorcist and Inside are very important films for me. So ever since I saw Inside, I had massive expectations for Alexandre Bastillo and Julien Marie. And their follow-up film, Livid, while that wasn't a terrible film, it really didn't live up to Inside. But one thing that Inside and Livid had in common was a fantastic atmosphere. So coming into Among the Living, I had no idea what to expect. I hope they would up the violence a little bit, because as I said, with their debut film Inside being such a shock as far as violence is concerned, Livid was definitely toned down a lot. So that disappointed me a little bit, but as I said, the atmosphere was there. So coming into Among the Living, my expectations were that it would be atmospheric, but I was hoping that they would kick up the violence again. Now, unfortunately, in Among the Living, they don't really kick up the violence. There is one or two scenes that are quite hard-hitting. But what I loved about Among the Living was, once again, the atmosphere. This is a truly spooky film, and that's something that is evident in each and every one of their films, is that they've got this understanding of what horror is. It's got the understanding of creeping you out with stuff that you can't see, that impending sense of claustrophobia, the impending doom that is around every corner, and it's slowly sucking the life out of you. And that's exactly what Among the Living does the best. It has a strange sort of gothic feeling. When you see the bad guys, it's really uncomfortable stuff. So it does feel like these guys are really on top of their game as far as horror is concerned, and they're leading the way in creating the atmosphere and creating the thing that is most difficult in a horror film, is that the stuff you can't see, the vibe of the whole film, the atmosphere, the tension, it was all there. I love the story behind the movie. I think that the movie kind of goes in two halves. The first half is basically a mysterious sort of approach, but then when whatever they saw inside this movie studio comes back to their houses, it really kicks into a slasher type of movie. And I just thought there were some moments in the film that were truly tense. And it's stuff that you really don't see with, when I saw Inside, I wasn't expecting the tension that had, that the atmosphere and the moody sort of spooky atmosphere, the spooky moments, because it was such a violent movie. And usually what's the case with these sorts of movies is that it's either really gory or it's really spooky. You can't really have both in the same category. But this movie, the Inside, it blended those two together very well. But with Livid and Among the Living, it's really a sense of the atmosphere. It's not so much about the violence, which is disappointing for me, But having said that, as far as cinematography is concerned, as far as the acting is concerned, it was all fantastic. Francis Renaud, he plays one of the characters in the film. I think he's a great actor. He was in Mutants, which is another French horror film that I loved. He was also in a lot of French gangster films. So if you're familiar with French movies, you'll know who this guy is. He does a fantastic job. Patrice Daly plays a cameo right at the start, which is a very shocking cameo, but that was really cool. She was the villain Inside. She did a great job. She's an amazing actress, so it was good to see her as a cameo. She appears to be a favourite with these guys because she's been in every movie of theirs. So she just has that very creepy sense about her, but it's just a cameo in this film, so she's not really in it too much. But yeah, the ending was very, very good. I love the way it finished, and as I said, I love the creepy atmosphere to it. A little bit disappointed that it didn't have the violence that Inside had, but I can't, criticise that too much because I really enjoyed the creepy moments. There were moments that genuinely made me feel on edge. There are no jump scares, which is what I appreciated a lot as well. I know a lot of you out there hate jump scares. This movie has, I can't really remember a jump scare. It all relies on the build-up, and that's something that's very hard. A lot of directors try build-ups, but they lose the tension. But this movie never really loses the tension. Even when the kids are in environments that they would consider safe, you're never really sure that these people are safe because there's always that level of suspense. So it's a very suspenseful horror film. There were moments that, as I said, I really liked and I really appreciated as a horror fan. So if you're a fan of French horror, definitely go out there and check out Among the Living. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure a lot of you out there will as well. So overall, for Among the Living, I'm going to give it 4 stars, highly recommended. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching movies, and I'll see you later.